Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. We just got a kit reveal last night for Captain Tarpals. A bunch of people were tagging me on Discord as if I didn't already know. Truth is, though, I didn't already know because I was teaching a class. Now, I don't normally get into kit reveals. It's not something that I like to do because it's so time constrained and it's something that I have to do at a certain time rather than when I want to do it or when I can do it. However, this is a Gungan. And as we all know, I am full steam ahead on the Gungan train, really focusing hard on getting Jar Jar day one and Relic 9ing the entire team, doing all of the Omicrons, whatever that may be. I might shoot myself in the foot. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Hell, I could only get my Darth Bane to R5 yesterday, specifically because I needed to save my signal data. So, just for the Gungans, just for fun, just because I want to, I woke up a little bit early this morning to kind of read Captain Tarpals' kit, which I haven't even read yet, other than the brief glimpses that I kind of saw as I was pulling it up on my computer. Whew, let's take a look. Key attributes: heavy damage dealer for Gungans. Basic ability deals damage, additional damage to buffed enemies, and dispels all the buffs from them. Okay, so full dispel, kind of like Shock T. Ouch time deals true damage to all enemies, which scales with the number of debuffed enemies. Okay, becomes a juggernaut with his territory battle Omicron. Now, I kind of knew I'd have to do a territory battle Omicron in this group, but that's fine since I am expecting to use them on Ring of Kafrene day 5. And it would really, really be fun to me if I can auto that battle with my R9 Gungan. So, Inspiration's probably the most recognizable Gungan outside of Jar Jar and Boss Nass. We wanted to make sure that we got Captain Tarpals in the game alongside his Gungan allies. The visuals on his abilities really call back to the battle for Naboo against the Trade Federation battle droids. The names for the abilities are all based on his lines in The Phantom Menace, further reinforcing celebrating that film's 25th anniversary, which of course means that we're probably not going to get a sacrifice ability, right? Hauling back to the Clone Wars and his sacrifice, but I get it. We're probably never going to see that because I just don't see us getting a second Captain Tarpals at any point. Strategy tips: Captain Tarpals special ability, no giving up. You can scale highly based on the number of debuffs present on the target enemy. Try to apply as many debuffs as possible to deal heavy damage. Utilize no giving up to mark a high priority target that Gungan allies can follow up on. He gains a bunch of powerful benefits when the allied shield generator is active. Make sure to protect the shield generator at all costs. Just based off of what we've seen with Boss Nass, it kind of looks like once you've lost your shield generator, you're pretty much screwed anyway. So, I mean, I get it, but it seems kind of like an afterthought to put that in the strategy tips. Captain Tarpals will counterattack enemies that are debuffed and deal true damage based on his max protection when attacking end of turn. FAQ, don't care. Yeah, of course we're going to be getting Gungan GCs. We always get whatever the new thing is, GCs coming out. Alright, so his basic. Hey Yusa. Deal physical damage to target enemy and shock them for 1 turn. If the target enemy had any buffs, dispel them and deal damage an additional time. Gungan allies gain advantage for 2 turns. So pretty straightforward, which is, nice. There are a few other characters that do shock on basic. I don't know if there are any that shock and dispel. There probably are. We have over 270 kits in the game at this point. But I always like when we get a basic kit because I find that more recently we're reading through like Ayn Rand novels just to find out what characters do, and I very rarely even read the kits at all, and I just kind of trial and error them. Special ouch time, cooldown of 4. That's actually a pretty cool ability animation, and nice and quick too, if we were to do this at 4x, of course. Deal true damage to all enemies, dealing 10% more damage per debuffed enemy. Okay, so not per debuff, so up to 50% more damage. 60% if there's a summon. Remove 10% turn meter from all enemies. Enemies without debuffs are staggered for 1 turn. Interesting. Separatist enemies without debuffs are stunned for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. Remove 2 stacks of recharge from the allied shield generator. This ability can't be evaded. Okay. Special 2, no giving up. Looks like, I mean, I feel like these should almost be switched, if not, just because this looks like a less impressive version of Ouch Time. But whatever, I don't make the rules. No giving up. Final text. Deal physical damage to target enemy, dealing 10% more damage per debuff on them. Alright, so this is where we get into like more silly stuff. And I know Boss Nass does a few debuffs too. I think he has a dot on there somewhere. Let's see. Damage over time. Oh, okay, so exposed, defense down, damage over time. So we're already seeing 3 other debuffs right there in that one little push. Call target other ally to assist. Gungan allies gain critical damage up for 1 turn and recover 25% protection. Inflict marked on the target enemy for 1 turn. Okay. If they don't already have it. If the target enemy is a separatist, also inflict the enemy leader with marked for 2 turns. So it's going to just completely straight up nuke General Grievous, which I don't even think we needed that mark for that, but I'll take it. Which can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. Misa, think of something. At the start of battle, Captain Tarpals loses 75% max health and gains that much max protection. Whenever Captain Tarpals attacks out of turn, deal bonus true damage equal to 5% of his max protection, which is going to be silly with the amount of max protection on this team, right? Does Boss Nass give extra max protection? I don't... Max... no, he gives himself max protection. Oh, actually, the shield generator gives max protection too. This is gonna get silly. Gungan and 30% max protection from his leader. If there is an allied shield generator, whenever it loses a stack of recharge. Gungans gain 50%. Oh man, this is gonna be crazy. I love this. I love this so much. Where were we? Captain Tarpals gains 1% turn meter whenever an enemy is inflicted with a debuff. Whenever a debuffed enemy attacks Captain Tarpals, he counterattacks. If there is an active shield generator at the start of Captain Tarpals' turn, dispel all debuffs on himself, ignore taunt, which is going to allow that mark to be on whatever he needs to do. And whenever he attacks out of turn, inflict buff immunity. Very nice. Alright, so we have our territory battles. Omicron, at the start of each encounter, Captain Tarpals gains 20% offense for each active Gungan ally, so 100% offense total. And all Gungan allies gain critical damage up for 2 turns, and and this is at the start of each encounter. And gain 100% max protection until the end of the encounter. At the start of each Gungan ally's turn, they remove 1 stack of recharge from the allied shield generator. The first time each Gungan ally falls below 50% health, they recover 100% health and protection. At the start of Captain Tarpals' turn, if he has more than 50% max protection, all Gungan allies gain offense up for 2 turns. Otherwise, they gain defense up for 2 turns. Whenever a Gungan ally is dazed or stunned, they dispel it, reset their cooldowns, and gain a bonus turn. Whenever Captain Tarpals scores a critical hit, add a stack of plasma shielding to the allied shield generator. Okay, I know that not everybody really likes territory battles, Omicrons, and I get it. I understand that GAC, I fully understand that those are the most bang for your buck Omicrons, especially for players that are really trying to advance. I happen to like territory battle Omicrons. I didn't like them back in the LSTB days because they were first introduced at a time where a lot of guilds were already doing max waves pretty often, other than like the gas mission, which sometimes just went awry, but for the most part, a lot of people were doing, 68 to 70 waves. You see what I did there? That's called being a teacher. So it kind of seemed pointless at that point. But now in ROTE, there are a lot of harder battles, and they do mean less, okay? But for me personally, I like the ROI on my time, and what that means is if I can do a territory battle Omicron, that gives me a team that allows me to do things on auto without even having to look at my phone. Every 10 minutes that I save, right, which is generally like 5 to 10 minutes per phase, I'm happy with. Now, with that said, I am a turtle in GAC, so that means that I don't put a lot of stock in that, and I kind of sit handedly at K2 without much worry of going up or going down. So for somebody who is a little bit more oriented in moving up, I see that there's no utility here. But my first thought on doing this, and because I've already committed to doing every single Omicron that this team has to offer, is that they're essentially going to be pretty much invincible in territory battles if you mod them the correct way. I can see this definitely beating the Ring of Kafrene missions, just the fact that I'm getting so many bonus turns between the stuns, getting max protection, Captain Tarpals doing true damage based on his max protection, and in 2 kits already we're seeing different ways to gain max protection, right? So here we're getting it from the Omicron, from Boss Nass, we're getting it from his leader, and we're getting it from his shield generator. So I can see this getting pretty silly pretty quickly. Definitely not for everybody, but I'm pretty excited about that. Now, what are we doing with this team, right? We have Boss Nass, who right now in the game is effectively useless. We have nothing that he can do. There's nobody for him to go with. His leader really just affects Gungans. Captain Tarpals gives us somebody to put him with. Are you going to use him yet? Probably not, especially with 5s being what's out right now. Though 3s will come out right around the time that our 3rd Gungan drops. So that might be a fun thing that we might start seeing in the next month. We don't know much about the team, but we do know is that they're kind of like this glass cannon heavy protection team, and it kind of reminds me of, the hell is the name of that game? Geez, what is that called? We're going to look it up because that's going to bother me if I don't look it up. How could I forget? Path of Exile. So it kind of reminds me of Path of Exile, and I think there's one way that you can build your character in Path of Exile, which is essentially where you give up all of your max health to have shielding, and the trade-off being that obviously with no max health, if there's anything that does max health damage, other than poison, because that gets, you get an immunity, you're pretty much going to die right away. This is kind of where I see this team. They're going to have a ton of protection, but they're going to have so little max health going into battle. So teams that are going to do max health, let me rephrase that because that's different. Teams that are going to ignore protection are going to pretty easily take care of business here. One notable one that I would think of right off the top of my head, and I'm going to kind of just check on some other ones, would be Count Dooku with Riposte, I don't know how to say it, but that's going to be your one debuff that we need to look out for. Now, the nice thing with Dooku is that he is a Separatist, and it does seem pretty clear that Gungans are going to take out Separatists mostly without any problems at all. But I can see him being in a Sith squad and this being a little bit harder. And then looking here, without reading the kits, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis seems to have it as well, somewhere in his kit. Right, I know you can't see this on your screen because I'm doing it on another. Yeah, so he gains repost for 2 turns at some point, and Malakos also has it. So these are going to be 2 instances, between Jedi teams and Ufu teams where we might have a little bit more trouble being able to win. I guess it really depends on the next 3 kits that we get, especially with Jar Jar, whether or not something like Bad Batch is going to be a problem too, right? Bad Batch does do a lot of debuffs, so that might give Tarpals a lot of extra turns, and that might not be a problem, especially with the stuns and him dispelling himself. But at the same time, because of the unique on, I was looking at this a few days ago for different reasons, because of the unique on Echo, if their protection is below a certain point, you end up also doing health damage at the same time. Will it get to that point with Bad Batch? I don't necessarily think so, but I could see a really fast team giving you a little bit of trouble. That, of course, is without any idea what the other three kits are, right? So we have, I'm assuming, one more attacker, one tank, and then we know that Jar Jar is a support. And the things that those three characters bring to the holotables could completely change what we're doing here. But I would say right now the big thing that we're going to want to look out for is UFU teams. One other point of interest, I don't know if anyone else noticed, I'm sure some people did, and Meathead does like to troll us with the taglines, but we get a very, very lovely Easter egg to, what's the name of the name? Captain Phillips, right? A movie from, 2015, 2016, with the I Am the Captain Now, so it's kind of pretty cool as well. Where are we going from here with this kit? Here's the deal. We know I want to get day one Jar Jar. I'm a little bit nervous. We have a 14-day cadence right now. I predicted both of these dates in my spreadsheet. I was really hoping for a 3-week cadence. This is going to be a little bit more scary for me. I'm still going to try to go for it. But at the same time, it is very exciting because it's likely that we're going to see that third kit drop in 2 weeks. And I think once we have that third kit, we're going to get a better idea of really what this team is going to be capable of. One, because you technically do have a really good 3-man team for threes, which will be coming up by that point. But two, I feel like with Boss Nass being a support and being the leader and kind of just saying, hey, protection everywhere, and Tarpals being the attacker, it's kind of hard to see what kind of defenses or what kind of holds we're going to get. I think Phalanx is the last of the kits that we're getting. I don't remember off the top of my head. So it might be kind of hard to judge this team before we get what he has in store. I do really think that you're going to need a pre-taunt, or else that shield generator is going to drop really, really, really quickly. So I'm assuming that we are going to get a pre-taunt. And I was thinking about this last night. I think that Jar Jar is probably going to be the one character in the team that's going to introduce a new type of debuff, right? Generally, new teams have some kind of strange new debuff that we have to play with. I think it does make sense for Jar Jar to be the one that has that. And then the other thing that I thought would be quite fun is if Jar Jar were the first and only character in the game. We know they don't have 3 Omicrons because all of the new journeys do, but if each of those Omicrons was for a different game mode, I think it would be silly. I think it'd be ridiculous. I do think it would underpower him just slightly, but not necessarily underpower the entire team. And I think that it would be chaotic since it's something that we've never had before. And, well, that's what Jar Jar does, right? He likes to be the chaos in the game. So, with that said, once again, don't expect to see these from me often with other kits, but I am going to try to do them with all of the Gungan kits just because I am the Gungan guy. I don't care what anybody else says. I will quite literally immediately bring them all to Arnhem. I'm thinking about bringing Tarpals to 5 right off of the bat just to kind of see. I think that might be the smartest play based on the cadence that we have right now, and we're going to hope for the best. If you have any other questions, hit me up on Discord, right? We have our Discord server now. We got a nice little group over there of very, very, very knowledgeable people. And with that said, have a pretty all right, because it's Tuesday.